And then I'll instruct after each year. Executive session. Okay, let's call this meeting order. Would everyone please rise and join me? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'd like to thank everyone for coming here. We have 8 candidates, and before we get started, I just want to let everyone know that we will be interviewing them in the order in which they applied. So that would explain how the order was selected. And before we start, I think I'd like to emphasize this. To ensure fairness in the interview process, I'm asking each candidate the same questions. I would respectfully ask that any candidates who are not currently being interviewed to voluntarily step into the teacher's lounge or hallway during the other candidates' questions. It's entirely voluntary. The meeting does remain open to the public, but I think in order to keep the playing field level, I think that would only be fair. So our order tonight, in case you haven't seen it, is Melinda Shelton, followed by Raymond Long, Erica Herwig, Teresa Cooper, John Bull, Nicole Plum, Tammy Kolsky. Did I say that right, Tammy? Not here. And Eric Magner. Eric, did I say that right? He's not here either. Okay. So, that being said,
So is it have like just a couple minutes to be interviewed or like?
That's why, yeah, that's why I said. In the format of the interview will be, we have our prescriptive questions. After the prescriptive questions, if any board member has a question that was not asked, you may, or you want clarification on an answer, you can do that. Finally, we'll ask the candidate if they have any questions for us, and that will conclude that portion of it, just to let you know. All right. With that being said, Ms. Shelton and Mr. Grayson, you have the first question. Yeah, we got to do that, don't we? I get excited. All right, I need a motion and a second to approve the agenda for this meeting. I'll make a motion. You got a motion, we need a second.
Second.
All in favor, signify with aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion's carried. Let's roll. Yes, sir.
Okay. What is motivating you to serve on the Newaygo Board of Education? And how will you ensure your decisions are centered on all students, not individual concerns or agendas?
Well, first of all, I've been attending the board meeting for the past 3+ years. I think in that time I was one meeting. I even attended the work sessions that I found very important. I had run for the position, being 1,500 votes. I won't be run again, no matter this. How I ensure my votes? Well, I will make sure there's open dialogue, that any decisions I make come from knowing all the factors, not just reading proposal 1, proposal 2, proposal 3. I will want to know what each of those proposals involve to help me make a decision that will be best suited for the students as a whole. As you know, I'm a retired special education teacher, and I work with not only special ed, but general ed as well. I was a student council advisor, so I knew how to blend the two between those on the very bottom of the one that extra help, and those at the very top that need to mesh, and finding things that benefit all of them, not just a single group. Right.
Thank you. What do you believe is the role of a board member, and just as importantly, what is not the role?
Well, number one, the role of the board member is to govern and to hold a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers in their electors. You need to understand that when you go to approve something, that you know all aspects of it. Financial stability is very important in school districts because at any moment, any bond could be turned down. State could cut budgets. I mean, so it's very important to be on top of that. What isn't our role is to meddle in what is happening in the classrooms. That's for the administration staff that the school board hires to do those positions. Do they need to come to us to get approval for things? Yes, but we need to discuss those openly so we know when and where it's happening.
Welcome, Linda. Thanks for applying. From your perspective, what is going well at Newaygo Public Schools, and how would you build on that?
Well, the one thing I posted about this was captured kids' hearts. That is something that I used in Tri-County back in the early 2000s in continual training. Right now, Newaygo is kind of like in phase 2 of it, which is still a good spot. And the surveys that you have done with the students and that was shared on the board meetings was excellent because it shows that it is making a difference. Meeting students at the doorway helps cut down on shenanigans in the hallway. Greeting the students also gives you an idea whether that student needs some additional support before they come in, because you want to head off those problems before they happen. That is my most favorite thing that I've seen. That along with the additional high school courses that have been added this past year. And the continuation of academics, but in a more realistic, life-altering way, like the sports history class that actually deals with history, but it deals with more of an iconic, natural history that most people pay attention to that are into sports, so that helps the students. The other one, the financial literacy. I just saw that post come out today, that it's going to be, they're going to honor the financial literacy. That is so excellent, because that's one thing I talked about at the last time I sat in front of you, is making sure that our students are prepared to go out the doors to actually become the adult that many of them have to become. Sometimes they get a little lucky to get to go to college, and if they have mom and dad make decisions for them for another 4 years. But not a lot of our students go out to college. And that's okay, because hands-on industries, they're lacking right now, and they need those students. And those are high-paying jobs as well.
Thank you. If a parent approaches you with a concern about a teacher or coaching issue, how do you respond?
I listen to them, find out their information, encourage them to speak to the building principal. If they've done that already, I encourage them to go see the superintendent. And from there, that should be handled. If it continues on, and the parent still feels that there's no recourse, I would encourage them to come to a board meeting. But they're steps ahead of coming to a board meeting. For me, I don't have children in the school, I have grandchildren in the school. I think that's my job, I handle that myself. For me, when I have a question or something, I usually take it straight to them.
How to handle situations where you feel strongly about a day-to-day school issue, but understand that operational decisions are not the rule.
Exactly, that's exactly it. day-to-day operations are not the board's preview. That's why you hire administrators. You have to trust in your administrators and hopefully that they're handling it. There are times when it does have to come, and the board has to look at it in two ways. Fiduciary and what is good for this district.
How should board members handle disagreements with one another while maintaining trust and professionalism?
That's yeah, kind of funny to have that question. I'm going to go on what I feel and not what I know is happening. I feel that everyone has the right to disagree. Being a yes man of the board isn't a good look. It's not a good option. I don't feel the board discusses enough things in the open for the public to hear. I feel the board needs to converse more about proposal A, proposal B, proposal C, and get a consensus. Sometimes you may even be able to, okay, we don't like any of these, but what do we like about part of A, part of B, part of C, that we can put it together and come to some sort of consensus. Boards need to be diverse, and with diversity comes different opinions, different ideas, different ideologies. And that's why it is so important for the board to be diverse, to handle these situations, and be, well, we're the adults in it, and it needs to stay in the room. Talk it out, work it out, go into closed session if you have to, but make sure that everybody has their voice.
Sorry, what does a healthy board superintendent relationship look like to you, especially during times of disagreement?
Well, you have to look at it a few things. Is it affecting the situation fiduciary? I mean, are too many expenditures going out that you feel because of maybe the economic times going on that you feel bad? Is it because of personnel problems? Each individual situation between superintendent and board, you have to look at, and everybody, it has to be open, it has to be discussed. And if you're not able to find a solid agreement or a quorum, then the board has to take their next steps. What I see as a positive one is that the superintendent, as well as the board, are open with each other. That nothing is slipped in, nothing is hidden, and that the board is able to be open and honest. Every board member, whether you agree with or don't agree with the superintendent, you need to be open, and you need to be able to discuss it.
Thank you. I would ask any board member now if you would like to follow up on any of these questions, or if you have other questions.
Just we're gonna have a chance to attribute for stuff that she submitted, and I just ask all of that.
Well, then we'll skip ahead, and I will ask you, what questions do you have for us?
Well, I asked them it the last time, so I understand the onboarding. I've also done some of the school board association type training sessions that from last time when I was running for the position. There's nothing I know. I have no qualms. I'm just here kind of as I'm here. I have no delusions that this board will accept me, and that's okay. I will go to the community. And I know that because sometimes I speak out. And I speak out a lot of times because the board doesn't speak out. The board doesn't do enough discussion during these meetings. They don't fill in the blanks that you have. The minutes from the meetings, when there is discussion, just pretty much label what you voted on. And I've asked about that before. I see someone is filming tonight. Wonderful. I've asked for that as well. And I would like to see that this board become more transparent. That each item on a board agenda is discussed thoroughly, so that those visiting the board can actually hear and know what proposal A is, what proposal B is, what proposal C is. Because the superintendent may recommend B, but maybe for the community, A sounds better. So I just want more transparency.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Based on your resume.
I do not.
Okay, thank you, Melinda. Okay. And we're about 5 minutes early, so if anyone wants to stretch their legs, we take the next 5 minutes to quickly look at the resume for the next candidate. We'll get that going next month.
I will do it for all the stuff. It's the same day, but like.
We will look at that adjustment. Yes. Hey, Erica. We have asked that in his total decision that, in the interest of leveling the playing field here, that he not be present during the it's completely your choice. We do have the teacher's lounge open.
Yeah, it should be unlocked right here, Eric.
Thanks, Erica. Yep.
And then Eric, when you're done, I go right here if you want to go inside, but when you're done after every.
Mr. Long. Of course, Melinda, you're free to stay. So.
Yes, I thank you. She's ready.
She's ready.
Mr. Long is not here.
I'm not currently in
It is 12, 5:18. We'll give you till 5:20. And then, if that's not the case, so you might want to quickly look ahead to
Oh my God. I texted it and it said it through us and it's got Andrew. So I don't text him. So I'll resend it. But I'm just gonna start getting before us. So I was trying to be ahead of time. I didn't do that this time. So well, all right.
No, I didn't get it. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to. Nobody responded. Okay, at least somebody says thank you or something.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming it.
All right, I'll send.
Sitting in purgatory.
I agree. I'm full. It was slow.
He's not coming. Our day is not coming.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's, who's Ray Walker?
Who's not gonna make it?
Thanks, Teresa.
I just, like,
Just texted you?
second grade.
Okay, appreciate that. I want to go get her. Yeah, Sarah stuff. She wants to, unless you feel it. No. Yes, all seven. So, is everyone else here just to,
John Bull, Teresa Cooper are here. I haven't seen Nicole, I haven't seen Tim. I haven't seen the other three.
okay, all right. And because the times were posted, we will wait until those times appear. Okay. Thank you for your cooperation. The way this is going to work is we have 7 questions that we want to ask you. And then when we are finished, we've had a chance to look at your resume, and we'll, if any board member that has any questions about what's on there, or anything that you said that they might want to have a follow-up question, and then finally to wrap it, we will ask you if you have any questions for us. So, with that being said, Sarah?
Thanks for being here. Okay, what is motivating you to serve on the Newaygo Board of Education, and how will you ensure your decisions are centered on all students and not individual concerns or agendas?
Sure. So my kids are still in middle school, so this serving on the board, they're still right in the middle of that program, and they we have many more years here to come. So it's important to me that they have good education system to support them. We chose Newaygo. We did school of choice initially with my daughter, so we to the district ourselves. So we wanted to be here because we like this district. All of them in the county made choices, and we chose it. As far as what I will do to make sure things go well, I'm already in the community. I volunteer on the soccer program, and there I help support kids with. I'm a coach for kids campaign mainstream soccer. So my kids also, my son had 504 for a while. So I support all kids. It's important to me that all kids get the same education, the best that we can do to make sure that they get what they need. And offer them whatever they need. They deserve to have, every child, it doesn't matter their background or ability, deserves to be able to get the education they deserve and move forward in life and be able to have an opportunity to have a nice school life. And I think Newaygo can offer that.
Hi, thanks for applying. What do you believe is the role of a board member, and just as importantly, what is not the role?
Sure. The role of a board member is, first, we have to protect the district and the students in our district. That's the most important thing. The safety of the children and the education of the children should be our forefront aspect. And that is what I would intend to put focus. I'm on many boards, and I have been on and put that happy. But that's on my focus in all of those workers. And then what we shouldn't be doing is our own agenda, really, which was one of the earlier questions. I don't necessarily have my own agenda. I just want to see education. I'm also, I'll say, an outsider. I graduated from Newaygo. I graduated from North, so I have a few friends here, but I did not have any clips or anything like that. My focus is on moving things forward.
Thank you.
So from your perspective, what is going well at Newaygo Public Schools? How would you feel about it?
Sure. So I think the things that are going well at Newaygo Public Schools is I feel like we're really driving. I'm going to talk about elementary for a minute. The elementary school, for example, I feel like it's really driving. They recognize things that were missed during the COVID years. They've really been driving to make those changes. My kids were so affected by that, both in first grade and then started kindergarten during those years. And they lost out on a lot. The school really moved quick to recognize what the kids weren't seeing, what they missed in those few months that they were in school. And they continue to do that. We're always looking for new ways to do things. And I know teachers they volunteer to take on new programs and try new programs and kids forward to try to do the best that we can do. In the middle school, I know that they focus on the individual child. The teachers reach out to me directly, the administration reaches out to me as well. When my kids are doing really, really well, they reach out and say, you know, your kid's excelling in math right now, both of them are in advanced math, and we offer advanced math at the middle school. And that is a great thing. The sixth graders can take seventh grade math, the seventh graders can take eighth grade math. We have a seventh grader taking a ninth grade math, I know. So those are really great things that I think. I'm sorry, I forgot the second.
Okay, yeah, the second part is, how would you build it?
Yeah, sure. In my day-to-day job, my job is to improve processes and find efficiencies. I do a lot of other things, but my primary focus is looking at processes and building on them and seeing where we can do things better. I've been doing that for 25 years. That is an easy thing for me to look at. I can sit down, and especially in the business office, since that's my business background, even if I wanted, I could feel like this is where we could maybe make some, but I feel like I could also, that within the board, as things get proposed to us, I'll be able to easily identify. That might be me ask questions.
Can you repeat that? So you said in your day-to-day job, you do what?
So my day-to-day job, part of my job is to build processes and find efficiencies.
Build processes.
Yeah, I'm responsible for the entire finance system for my organization, so I have to build all of that to make sure.
Where do you work?
Grand Island.
If a parent approaches you with a concern about a teacher or coaching issue, how would you respond?
Sure. I talk about soccer for a minute. I volunteer in the AYSO soccer program. I'm on board, I'm also a referee, and I'm also a coach. So one of the things I do regularly is deal with conflicts with local parents. Most of the kids know me, most of the parents also. So and again, I also manage people. So being able to have an open, honest conversation, ask questions, active listening, make sure that I'm listening to what they're saying to me, and then asking questions so they can ask me so I can do. And then asking them, all right, what do we need to do to solve this problem? What would be their expectation, and then figure out where we're able to. I also do this in my day-to-day job. I work with faculty at the university. I regularly have all sorts of questions.
How do you handle situations strongly about day-to-day school issues but understand the operational decisions are not your?
Sure. Well, not everyone, so I can have personal. While I'm here, it's professional. I'm on many boards, and on the website. They have my personal issues there. Program, so I separate myself. So being able to separate my personal.
How should board members be?
I'm going to go back to active listening, asking questions and I understand. Which is allowing somebody to speak and asking questions after and make sure that I understand and figuring out. Don't always answer. We're here to serve the students, and we should be friendly to friends outside of this. We should be able to hold an easy, going conversation, make nice. To speak clear. I'm not saying I'm going to but I'm able to have those open conversations. So active. The faculty exam, they reach out regularly and they're not usually active. So I'm down for your.
Last question that's planned. What does a healthy superintendent relationship look like to you, especially during periods of discipline?
The superintendent's job is to run the district, day-to-day operations, students, safe and educated, and managing staff, to do their job. myself. So the relationship should be that your superintendent should look at anybody else, have a conversation with them, active listening to them, and just ask them good questions. And if there is a disagreement, they're going to have it. They should have it. Everybody agrees all the time, and it's not school board decisions. Being able to just have a decision.
No, that can, our seven, big seven. I ask the board members now, do you have any questions or questions that you? Okay.
Yes, I was the neighbor.
You know, turn it over. Questions do you have?
I guess I will ask.
You can.
Something over there.
You have the steering.
All right. I guess my question would be is how will you feel this board functions today? Should I be certain? You guys manage your meeting, like.
I'll take that question. Yes, there have been conflicts. But I think, as you stated, conflict questions are actually good. It can drive you. It can give both. Sometimes they get so locked in one thing, they can't consider the other side. And whether they change their mind or not, that's another issue. But I think sometimes that can be. I think one of the things that I've noticed about, I've always tried to emphasize on this board is once a decision is made, we go along with that decision. And to me, that's crucial. We have to move on. Can't live in the past. Or, if you want a metaphor, we don't want to look in the rearview mirror. It's hard to drive when we do that. And I think for the most part, our board is. And that we've had some workshops where we talk about that. So yeah, that's my opinion.
So just so you know, like, we don't all get to talk.
I know, yeah, I realize you're
Outside
in
the
the public,
board.
yeah.
So like, talk individually to somebody, but get together and talk outside the board. So I think communication is.
Yeah, and I might add one more thing. Is that some people feel that, we just rubber stamp things. And what they don't realize is that Mr. Gilpin gives us a board update weekly. He gives us the board agenda a few days before the meeting, and that gives us the opportunity to ask him questions. So we're not just showing up and voting. And I do know that in terms of communication, well, Sarah said, 4 of us can't have a conversation together because that's a violation. Yet, 4 of us individually ask that question and get an answer. So I think sometimes that gets forgotten. And I think Ben will back me up that he gets plenty of questions when he gives us the topics.
Opportunities from so see the agenda, we talk as well together. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's where some discussion is.
Anything else?
Just what are the next steps?
Great. Okay. So what's going to happen? Here in town, we'll when we discuss each of the cases, simply say, okay guys, if they here, and at some point, I'll say, okay, but instead of being about to say, I'll entertain motions. So the next candidate, we're not going to go into a big room, set up a puff of smoke outside the building.
You can sit.
Yeah, and you are a 2 month stay. Thanks, Erica. It's really about 5 minutes before she's here. Okay. Yeah, we can take 5 minutes. Yeah, yeah. We'll take 5 minutes. Sure.
I might do that. Okay.
And there at
It's also Rose Rollins in there.
I wondered about the other. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's working good. So you Right, that's part of the way. So, if so. After the interview, obviously, and go and we'll discuss. So, okay. So I guess question number one is, what's motivating you to serve on an education? How will you ensure your decisions are centered on all students?
I would say it was I've been involved, so, with volunteer, donating. And, me personally, honestly, finally said, my kids are sleeping through the night now, so, and my business is very stable. So I decided, how can I, it's good to volunteer, but how can I, and maybe use what I knowledge that I learned by my help the school out and so that's personally. And wanting to, I have extra time, to attend meetings and just devote some time to something. So, out of the school, I graduated school, take a week of school, and so time is just paper. And then second part of your question, about my time as a course. I will say that since 2017, I've been and have learned a lot about being on a board, not just how it works functionally, but how to set yourself aside. I mean, we have a business downtown, in one of the largest businesses. We benefit from a lot of this. So, and there are many times when it's definitely more about what is hurt to all, and not just my business. And I think we learn a lot about them and too. That you're responsible for, their paychecks from you. Definitely. Something desires from the school board to
I want to tell you.
just give it.
What do you believe is the role of the board member and justice is not?
I would say the role of the board member, kind of what we're talking about before, is to act, as a board and act. But then, kind of, I guess as a board member, to do positive decisions and use what you know. I think just like they it's the for that. Having relationships and talking to other parents, talking to other stakeholders, talking to all the people that are making sure the school is successful. And bringing that information to the board, to have, you know, a good conversation about, I mean, you know, and of course, if you're talking about, you know, as you know, you are, you know, driving the goal and, you know, establishing what the goals are that, you know, so graciously have someone that's a district and, you know, and that's really, I feel, you know, and of course, you know, the whole hiring and firing and all of that stuff and the budgeting stuff. I think effective, all that everybody wants to know, you know, everybody wants transparency, everybody wants to know that the plan represents what they and then there's the second part of your question, you know, what is it not? Of course, it's not acting selfishly, trying to accomplish some crazy side agenda that's not, of course. I'm sure there's all sorts of it's relating that back to, you know, there's bylaws that kind of explain what is your role, you know, and we have run into that in the PSC, you know, it's an advisory board, so you could easily fall into all of a sudden you're advising on something that's out of your jurisdiction or that's not really listed in bylaws. I think it's easy for people to fall into that trap, and you have to stay focused on what it is, what you were established for, and what it is you were planning. I would say there could be a lot of things that
From your perspective, what is going well at Newaygo Public Schools? How would you build on that?
I would say something that's really important to me, to a lot of people that I've spoken is something that the school, I would say, is actively working on right now. It's really, I think, exciting for a lot of us. But that is, to be honest, like supporting our students in their mental health and their behavioral health. For so many of us, there's definitely been some things that happened throughout the past years, where it's kind of like, where are we at supporting our kids, you know, and their behavioral health. And just this last board meeting, listening to Mr. Painter talk about the book that the elementary school is reading about basically the screen generation, and changing the way that they're doing recesses, you know, to teach kids dispute resolution skills and stuff like that. I think that in order for the teachers to do what they can do best, we have to be able to support our kids with their health also. And I think the school's direction on keeping that head on and doing things like that in the elementary school and also things in the middle school. They're even like the PBIS positive behavior thing that we're getting like monthly updates on. I think my youngest is in second grade, and I think she just learned about how to regulate your emotions, you know, and handle failure and stuff like that. And I think that's great. I think that there's a lot of kids, and this is not, you know, saying my kids need this the most. I'm just saying I think there's a lot of kids that can benefit from that, and it helps the teachers if the kids are able to exhibit positive behaviors and just be there for learning and not necessarily, you know, taking care of the kids from a constant behavior issue type of thing. So what the school is doing great, I would say those are all things that a parent like me with a second grader and a sixth grader, it's very promising that side of things, because the schools, I mean, the most important thing that we're doing, of course, is educating our kids, right? We're trying to get them to launch them into the real world and, you know, be productive citizens of society. But all those soft skills, you know, from an employer point of view, are so important, and it's obvious that the school doesn't a more important part in that, you know, as kids grow up. So it's nice to see what they. What was the second part?
How would you build it?
How would I build them? Well, I would say, well, I guess continuing on what the schools already do, addressing like screen, all the screen time with it. I think that will be, that's going to take nothing will get. So I think after they have experience up to having a conversation to have it and explaining that you have kids that volunteer to go around and the topic that they were talking about. Someone says that something back about someone, how are you doing? As they're like chatting with each other on the iPad. And that's not stuff that we ever talked about too much. And that is the kind of real stuff that I think the school is really going to have more input on as we go on. Like I said, but I would just say, like, you know, you have to stay educated, kind of like the continuous learning thing. I guess I would stay educated on what kids are being exposed to, and make sure that we are staying on top of how technology is impacting them, maybe negatively.
If a parent approaches you with a concern about a teacher or coaching issue, how would you respond?
That's a great question. I guess I would, knowing what I know now, I would relate that back to if someone in the community approached me about an issue or something like that. I mean, for one, it would be totally confidential in this case. If a parent's talking to me about a concern that they have, I guess the first thing I would want to just listen to everything they have to say, you know, and really figure out the facts. One thing I've learned that somebody might say initially, you know, I hate how the school is running, or whatever, you know, the comment they throw out. But then the more you talk to them, you know, the more you can understand where they're coming from, you know, what their perspective is. And a lot of times people are way more on the same page, you know, than we all think we are. You know, we a lot of us think that we're so divided, but then once you kind of get down to it, everybody is really thinking about similar things. So I would probably just open it up and have a conversation, understand what the facts are, and then, you know, probably reach out to the school and see who would be the, you know, right person to refer them to. Because certainly, I don't think it would be, you know, as a board member trying to solve their specific problem. But I would probably reach out to the superintendent and say, you know, is this something that you need? It's super confidential. You know, is it something that you need to address? You know, if it's something that the board needs to discuss, you know, if it's something that is like, you know, this is something that the board, maybe this is something new that's coming around, and is this something that the board, you know, needs to have a conversation about, have a direction on this? I would probably have that conversation as well.
How would you handle situations where you feel strongly about a day-to-day school issue, but understand that operational decisions are not the goal?
Guess I don't feel strongly about, you know, the day-to-day operations. I don't really see that. I kind of relate it to the PSC board because I don't like inspect this, you know, city happenings, you know, like just by being on the PSC board. I wouldn't want to be totally, obsessive about the day-to-day operations of the school. What was the second part of your question?
That's gonna resolve things.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
How would you handle situations where you feel strongly about a day-to-day school issue, but understand that operational decisions are not the role of the board?
Yeah, I think that's just really back again to having the correct mindset when you operate as a board. You're not just a single person, even if I think like, janitorial services are the most important, cleanliness is the most important thing in the school. And once you sit down on board, you're taking on another role of it, you're, making decisions as a board. It's not necessarily you're single. I mean, you might have an opinion, you can share that with your board members, but it's not the most important thing that, I would say how the board feels about it as a whole, and how, you have decided to move forward with that issue, would be more important than your own personal idea about that.
Thanks for applying, Teresa, and welcome.
Thanks, Tom.
How should board members handle disagreements with one another while maintaining trust and professionalism?
I would say, I can relate this to my business in a major way. I would say the number one way to solve this is communication and transparency. And I have seen this probably a million times in my business. So many times, like I said, people may disagree because they have not taken the time to listen to what the other person is saying, perspective, and then sharing theirs and understanding so that one can understand perspective, and being transparent. I've seen many times in my own business, if someone is withholding a piece of information, that makes it really hard for people to communicate and hear each other's side of the story. So I would say taking the time to communicate. I think sometimes people can get upset or annoyed where they just don't even want to take the time because they don't know it right. When all actuality, if they would just take the time, pick up the phone, or even have a face-to-face conversation. Once those walls are breaking down, oh, I didn't know you meant that. Oh, I see where you're coming from. Oh, that's true. That's more important than this. And kind of getting that down, I feel like almost all disputes, can get resolved in that way just by being more transparent. From what I've seen, when people close off and when they don't want to communicate anymore, that's when things start to get stressful for people because there becomes just a high level of this.
Thank you.
Do you have the last question?
Maybe you do, because you started.
I don't want to.
Well, I don't want to step on your toes.
Pretty big toes. So what does a healthy board superintendent relationship look like to you? Especially during times of disagreement?
I would say, I was actually thinking about this a lot because I am applying it to what I already know from sitting on the PSC board for the last 10 years. And I kind of see it very similar to the PSC board as an advisory board to the city, kind of deciding where things go in direction, but the city manager is actually executing. And I think on the education side, for some reason, I get funny up sometimes because people don't really understand what the superintendent relationship is with the board. But I see the board establishing, they have a vision, have a goal, and they have a district plan. And they hire a superintendent to execute such plan. And not necessarily micromanaging or anything like that, but a healthy relationship, just like it would be like if I hired a sales manager. I hired a sales manager, I'm not necessarily going to tell them how to sell. They're probably going to sell better than I am, to be honest. But I'm definitely going to have metrics, right? We're going to have a way to evaluate their performance every year. We're going to have, if the metric is, student achievement and graduating, what are the graduation rates for the year? How did the kids do on the MSTEP tests and things like that? There's definitely going to be metrics
and I would say a good level of communication. Cannot even overstate that enough. The level of communication between the school board and superintendent, I think, has to be similar to what I would say at my level of communication is with my, employees and my sales manager. They're in charge, they're executing what I have hired them to do. I'm not micromanaging them, but I know what's going on and I can see they're accomplishing the plan and I have some metrics in place to make sure that everybody's on board.
Thank you. Do any of the board members have questions or follow-up that you would like to ask?
You were planning on running the fall too, right?
Yes.
Anything else? Everyone's been so thorough, it's been great. All right, Teresa, it's your turn. What do you have for us? What questions do you have?
I guess, there was more questions. I feel like I kept going back to the communication and dispute resolution type stuff. What do you guys, what would be like maybe the top characteristics that you guys are looking for someone with a current state of the board? Like, I just wanted to understand exactly what.
I'm gonna, here we go. Why is it me? I think we have some amazing candidates. Everyone I've heard would be a positive addition to our board. So what are we looking for? Whoever we select.
Yeah.
But honestly, I have heard great things from every candidate so far, and I think any one of them would be a tremendous addition to our board. Does that include you?
That's a very good answer. I don't think I have any questions. I just kind of wanted to circle back on that point.
Anything else? All right, that pass the audition.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take a couple minutes to stretch if you need to.
Thanks for taking all the hard questions, Vince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just tell John you can come out here and then get a minute and then Bruce.
I can.
Drop. Good. Yeah. This time around.
Can't read.
Say the same thing.
I have one 2015 and another she got.
Is this the same thing that's on our thing?
The first page.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's like South Africa. South Africa.
Give you guys a couple of minutes.
There's a whole bunch of people just like when I'm watching. Like this is transparency. It's like
Oh, congratulations.
right.
How much fun. Good for you. Good. I think we got it.
Yeah.
Say to me, so yeah, like I basketball. So a few people out there, like yeah, so like
So Sean, how was
It's better than I expected. I thought I would have a little withdrawal from this. I miss the kids. I miss the staff. Children, like I was saying, no pets, no kids, no commitment. Pick up and go. We got up on planes before cars go because we had an opportunity. We're blessed.
it's gonna be
well, our last one's graduated.
like November. Like, make sure you print off a few extra copies of the Newaygo petition. Yeah, I heard you last week. I was like,
Okay, is everybody ready? John, you ready to roll?
I'm ready.
All right. Okay. What, man? Start.
What did motivate you to serve on the Newaygo Board of Education, and how do you ensure your decisions are centered on all students, not individual concerns or agendas?
We're jumping right into it.
Right.
All right. I taught government in Fremont for 8 years, and one of the things we talk about in the Constitution, people make up this city, this county, this government, and everybody should do their part. And this is one, when I retired, I said, I'm going to go to school. I can go earlier than I thought. So, we'll see. And I'll be brief if you would like me to stay whenever you need.
Yeah.
Floor is yours. What do you think is the role of a board member, just as importantly, but is not the role?
Small towns, this is something that small town boards always struggle with. The role is creating that vision, which you guys have your summer retreat, and create that vision, hopefully supplied by Mr. Gilman, put it together, and your job is to make sure that the system, the administrators, teachers are all working towards that student-centered focus for our community. What was the second part of your question?
What is not the role of board member?
Micromanaging. I think when we hired Mr. Gilpin, we trusted that he was going to hire administrators who then hired the job done. I think the board also serves as the leaders of the community. And if someone approaches me about an issue, first of all, talk about chain of command. That's something that Mr. Gilpin stresses. And then relay that information. So you guys have also, especially with that senior report here, throughout the community, everybody's represented.
From your perspective, what is going well at Newaygo Public Schools, and how would you build on that?
Well, after being here for the last 3 years as a assistant principal, I had a special look at the high school. This is the safest and caringest environment that I've worked. A lot of that needs. When a kid can walk out of the hall and say, "You see the principal," she makes it happen. That doesn't happen, in a lot of schools that I've had a chance to work with 4 different assistant. So safe and caring, I think is good. Take a look around. This school looks better than it did 3 years ago. The whole district, when you come in and you see the plaza to the football field. I think there are more opportunities for kids. And yeah, and that's the big one. I don't have as much experience down at the elementary level, and I haven't been down there, but I'm a big fan of it.
I'm slower in writing than you are. If a parent approaches you with a concern about a teacher or coaching issue, how would you respond?
This is something I've dealt with probably 100 times. The first thing is, have you talked to that teacher? That right away, go with that one. But to listen to, and I think as a board, that is your job, is to listen to people. And teaching in Fremont for 17 years, I did as many parent-teacher conferences at Walmart as I did anywhere else. And I think that's part of the contract assignment. Whether it's from your perspective or from the classroom or bus driver. Not a lot of folks I work with, they don't like stuff. But if they come back and say, yep, I did talk to the coach, I did go out for the next step. I talked to the athletic director. Then it goes to the president. It works its way up here. It's not hot, but we can listen to that and should.
Welcome, John. Thanks for applying. How would you handle situations where you feel strongly about a day-to-day school issue, but understand that operational decisions are not the role of the board?
I've been in this situation too before. Separate. Have policy. I think as a board member, I would certainly talk with my team members, and I would talk to them about it. If he agrees with the way things are going, and it depends on how serious it is. But I think if it was agreed, we have that control. And is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, and it'd be just, it could be a simple policy. It could be a simple policy as something like form of grass or something. You know, that may not be seen, that important.
Well, I need to work with my team members and set that policy, because that is what the board is responsible for, is shaping policy.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
How should board members handle disagreements with one another about maintaining trust and professionalism?
Super tough. It's a family. It's a different kind of family, but it's definitely a family. I think there has to be that. Especially as assistant principal, I learned this from working with parents. You have to assume positive. And that someone's not coming at it with a sly angle, trying to benefit themselves. They believe whatever they believe for a reason. And hopefully, if I feel strongly about something, I can present that and try to build consensus for that point. If I can, if the majority of the board feels this way, then that's how it works. That's when the great things about it, right?
What does a healthy board superintendent relationship look like to you, especially during times of disagreements?
I only get to see I get to see it from over there. I don't get to see the meetings in the office. I don't get to see those things. I would hope that it would be positive, respectful, and that you're open to listen. Tom comes to me and says, I feel strongly about this job. I'm going to open my mind, because assuming positive intent, and I know him, I'm gonna listen to what he has to say. If you feel strongly, convince me. But I'm also going to, when it comes to educational matters, Mr. Gilpin, he has a peek behind the curtain a little bit more than I would as a board member. I've had as much experience in education at a whole bunch of different things. I mean, I've managed transportation, COVID. I've worked in international school. I ran an international school. I helped build an international school curriculum, all those things. But it still comes down to his vision that he's going working with the board and implementing that. And I don't have to agree with my neighbor if it's strongly different way, but I'm going to be respectful with them. Hopefully they'll do the same.
Great. Board members, what additional questions or perhaps follow-up questions do you have for John?
Do you plan to run for the school board position at the end of the year?
Yeah, for sure. Whether this it has or not, I'm excited.
You don't need to rush.
It's your choice, dude.
Yeah.
It's your choice. Yeah.
Assuming that no one else has any, and if you do, please pop in. John, now it's your time. What questions do you have for us?
A couple of things, but I just want to start out. I believe and truly believe that all kids can learn, and it's the board's ultimate charge, making sure that the Newaygo Public Schools is giving those kids the opportunity to advance. And that doesn't mean every kid's going to Harvard, but every kid has to have the opportunity to improve. And the board needs to make sure that Ben and his team has the tools to do those and be financially responsible. I think I bring the knowledge that I can bring a different perspective, although Vince, you and I probably have very similar perspective to it. I'm all in on Newaygo. I sat behind his mom in math class. His dad taught me driver's education. Who smokes a pipe in the car? Yeah, and I've had personal conversations with everybody except you. You know, and I think I can chip in, but I've already had conversations. I don't think you're going to have a problem with issues here. Newaygo Public Schools got me and my wife to where we're at today. This was the foundation built here. Mrs. Billerbeck, Mr. Rose, Mr. Lance, I was sharing with her. Mr. Lance is the reason. He said to me, John, I had never even considered it. Next thing I know, there I am. So I'm ready to do this, but I think you have some other folks that can do it.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
This is not good.
She is a very
Yeah, absolutely. We got to take a whole. Oh, yeah.
A nice one.
All the way, yep, keep on all the way to the right.
Those are some really good educators that you mentioned. Which old? That's special. Yep, I agree.
I did hear that.
Last I did this Miller back, I was in South Carolina.
First
Yeah,
time.
I think she still owns property over on First Lake, Second Lake, somewhere over there.
Did you take
There
their
was
word
a
that,
No, no. I couldn't believe it.
Was she doing the push-up thing for you here too? No. Okay, when I was here, she was the thing back here, chair, you get 5 push-ups, catches again. Great. She would have been here, I think. Well, I think she was here when I was here. So, kid I graduated with, first guy from my graduating class passed away. He set her record for a That's cool. Yeah, she was a good lady.
Well,
Let it be great.
Yeah.
hello and welcome. So Nicole, here's how it's.
We have 7 questions,
Okay.
so we'll ask you those. And you can go as deep or whatever. When we're done with that, if any of the board members have additional questions or want to follow up on something you said, we have time to sort of do that.
Okay.
And then we'll ask you what questions you have for us. And I don't know if you heard, but when we're done, we'll discuss openly the candidates. And by the end of tonight's meeting, that's not that. Hopefully that answered your questions.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for being here. What is motivating you to serve on the Newaygo Board of Education, and how will you ensure your decisions are centered on all students, not individual concerns or agendas?
Good question. So I guess first and foremost, I guess I have a passion for education and students. I have always had a passion for that. I went back to school several times willingly for higher education. I currently serve on the N-Series School Board as well. And I serve as the Vice President. And so that has been a huge motivator for this, just because I kind of have some, I guess, background and understanding of boards and school boards, if you will. On top of that, I've served in this community for several years, approximately 15 years as a child welfare worker to start, and now currently as the open social worker in the city of Newaygo. So I have a lot of passion for helping people, and I feel priority, I guess, or a calling to serve my community further. The next part, could you repeat that part? Sorry.
And how will you ensure your decisions are centered on all students, not individual concerns or agendas?
So I guess just overall in my thinking, I do think very objectively, and I've always had to do that. So through my time as a DHS worker and through my time in my current position, I do have to be an objective thinker, and I have to think, hear both sides of the story before I come to a conclusion on anything. So being able to do that and be just objective and
what do you believe is the role of a board member, and just importantly, what is not the role?
Great question. I believe the role of a board member is to first and foremost put the students first, and to constantly be thinking about what is in the best interest of the student that attends this district. I think that recognizing and understanding the mission, the value, the goals of the board and of the district is just as important. I feel that the reverse would be to understand that as a united board, we're going to get a lot further than we would as individuals working on the board, or working against each other. And so making sure that we're doing everything, trying to find a solution that's in the best interest of the children would be in the best interest of a board member, I guess, if that makes sense. And together, but so the reverse would be to do anything that is in our own personal interest, not in the best interest of the student. Sorry. Well, I talk a lot too, so I'm a little.
From your perspective, what is going well at Newaygo Public Schools and how would you build on that?
I would say what's going well is, from my understanding, there's a lot of really positive academics. It's my understanding that the level of enrollment here has gone up significantly over the last couple of years, or at least the last year. And to build on that, I would hope to support any other type of curriculum that we bring in to help support the students and the staff here, and bring in maybe a twist to what we can do to elaborate on that to get more enrollment. I think Newaygo is very unique, and Newaygo has a lot of, it's its own culture, I would say. And I say that from an outsider coming in, but being here a long time. So it's very different from any other district, I would say. In working in different districts, you know, like I do in my current position, I would say that it's a very fun, it's very close-knit community, and I love that about it. But I would say that it's, a lot of people feel that, and it's like, especially with what's going on, I see a lot of that coming down, which is sad, but where they're choosing to go is Newaygo. So building on that would be to bring additional, maybe more unique curriculum in for the students so that you can get more higher enrollment, if you will, and then that can help in waterfall or umbrella down, if you will, into athletics and into all the other areas of the school. Thank you.
Welcome, Nicole. Thanks for applying. If a parent approaches you with a concern about a teacher or a coaching issue, how would you respond to that?
That's a great question. We talk a lot about this in our NASB courses that I've taken through that series up. But typically, so what I've done in the past is when I've had this happen is if they talk about sports or let's say it's a teacher problem, you know, I would typically redirect them back to the teacher or to that coach or to the lunch lady, back to that lunch lady. Always encouraging them to go back to who that source is and where the issue lies. If they can't figure it out there, then they can go to that supervisor, whoever the supervisor is, the athletic director or the principal, whoever that is. So if that doesn't work, then they can go to the superintendent. And then if that doesn't work, the last line that they should do is come to a board or a board member. General board's job typically isn't to deal with the day-to-day operations, but if they have to, it's the very last line that they have to do that in. But kind of like chain of command, if you will. They should start where the problem is and then work their way down or work their way up to the board.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How would you handle situations where you feel strongly about a day-to-day school issue, but understand that operational decisions are not going to?
So again, I think I would go back to reviewing policy procedures, looking at what the bylaws are, and then also going back to, if I'm really struggling with that, I would probably find a contact at the NASB just to kind of then get their expertise. Just because they are there for that support, they're there to help with that direction, and if I felt that strongly about it, then I might even, I don't know, maybe replace myself from dealing with it if it came to the board. But I would hope that it wouldn't get to a point like that. However, we know that could happen. So I would say, yeah, I would definitely talk with a mentor or something about it, and then really try to hear both sides. Again, try and take my personal.
should board members handle disagreements with one another while maintaining trust and professionalism?
Great question. I think having discussions through either open or closed meetings, I think is one way of dealing with it. But then remembering that we're all human, and in the end, that we're going to have disagreements. And remembering that at the end of the day, we're all here for the best interest of students, and we're all here to make decisions that are in the best interest for the students, not for what is in our own personal agenda. So ensuring that that's the case, talking it out amongst each other, going to our board president about it, going to the superintendent, maybe having a conversation with them. Again, if we had to bring it to ISD, have them come in, we're already able to help bring everybody back together. Did I answer all of that? Okay.
What does a healthy board and superintendent relationship look like to you, especially during times of disagreement?
Healthy board and superintendent relationship would be recognizing again that we are here for the students, and though we might not agree on a certain topic or a certain situation, it always comes back down to what is in the best interest of the students at the end of the day. And being united, remaining united as a board, even when we disagree on things, is super important to maintain the trust of the community, to maintain the trust of our staff and students, and to be successful as a board, we really do need to have that positive relationship with the superintendent. When we have times that there is maybe some turmoil, again, having that conversation with our board president, having that conversation with the superintendent board president, and again, potentially bringing in NPS to do that as well here. I think it's always a really healthy way as an party to help.
I do have a follow-up question. When you were asked how you would handle a situation where you feel strongly about a day-to-day school issue, but understand that operational decisions are done on the board, you had commented that maybe you would repeat yourself if it came to the board. If it got to that point, can you explain more why you would why you would repeat yourself?
So if it were something that were, I guess, something that I was so passionate about that I didn't feel like would be, I don't know, maybe professional enough to say that, listen, I'm so passionate about this is just what I believe. Say it's a religious thing or something along those lines. I think it would be really important to do that just so that I wouldn't affect, negatively impact what the board is deciding or what the best outcome of the children would be.
Then you're going to ask the question.
Were you planning on running in the fall?
Am I planning
Are
on
you? Or?
I mean, if I got this position, I would definitely do that. I don't think it would be fair to the board, any of you, or the children, the students, the staff, if I got this and was like, hey, see ya. I think it would be definitely important to do that. And if I didn't get it, would I run? I guess I would. I could potentially still do that. Yeah. I guess it would just be dependent on kind of where we are and where I'm at, I guess.
Right.
So.
Anything else? Okay, we fired questions at you. You get a chance to fire some. What questions?
I guess, I kind of heard a little bit about, I guess I kind of know what you're looking for, but what exactly are you looking for in a board member? What are your...
Come on, guys. Don't put this on me all the time. I have. I'll go again. No one else wants to take it. And I will say this in all honesty. Every person that we've interviewed tonight has qualities that would enrich our board. So what are we looking for? Someone just like you, or you, or you, or you. I think every candidate here brings something different to the table, and that's a good thing. So what are we looking for? We're looking for someone who's balanced, someone who is a good listener. I've heard every candidate say something about listening, something about communication. I think those are the two qualities that we really, really are looking for. And that's why I can say that we are gonna, our kids are gonna be the winners with whomever we select.
I guess the only other one is, I like your question at the end, Tom. So would that be the expectation is that, you know, if somebody does get this, or whoever gets this, that they do run in the end? Is that what the board is hoping for? Is that this person, or?
In my opinion, I think it seems to be intent. And, you know, is it something that you take seriously that you want to do? It's one thing to come here and do this, it's another thing to do that. So I was like, in my opinion, intent and what you want.
And I want to plot on said because I really think we have so many good candidates tonight that unfortunately we can only select one. But that doesn't mean that everyone else should take that as a no. Because everyone has something to bring to the table. And I would encourage everyone in this room, if you want to be a board member, I believe we have 2 positions up in November. And we would love to have you. Anything else?
How long have you been on the N-Series board?
Approximately 3 years. And I served 1 year as the treasurer and the past 2 as the, or well, sorry, 2 years as treasurer, 1 as vice.
How long is that term?
2029.
Do you have any more?
No, I don't have any other questions.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take it.
Oh, you can stay up here now. You can stay.
Oh,
I'm comfortable. Yeah. Is anybody else here? Good question.
And then I got home and I messaged her, I was like, so I did get home, I was like, here's the week. And then I didn't message my mom, and my mom messaged her.
Oh, yeah.
I would. Yeah. Does he like it? Yeah, and you had that here. You had that here. You know that.
So like you're not.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. And how do we as an educational community deal with that? And we can't not deal with it because it's there. But how can we make it work for us, not against us, is the problem. Not how do we make it go away. That's not it.
I did see, I think there were 17 policies that looked at digital technology or communications being offered within that technology spectrum. So there's a foundation to build on already. And I'm just hearing the support, which I love to hear, of what's happening in the classroom, but it doesn't sound like it's a hot topic issue on the board.
It isn't yet, but I can tell you it is a hot topic issue for most teachers and administrators. And how do we deal with that? Because I don't think we have any idea how large this problem is in school. Okay.
I'm not making a hot topic, even though that's where my just so y'all know I'm not going to be pushing for technology.
Right.
Yeah. I just think we need
It's
to
here.
build on
It's
what's being done with digital citizenship.
I had the same thing. So, do you have any other questions, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It changed.
Yeah.
And also my girl.
Oh, I have those.
How do you say
Have you ever done an interview with this many people?
Not with this many.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Oh, we're waiting for Mary.
Well, I can pick it. The way this is going to work is we have 7 questions. And when we finish with those questions, some board members may have additional questions as follow-up or other questions, which we'll ask you. And then the last part of the questions that you have. So as soon as Mary gets back, and here she is, we'll get started. And just as we will talk about candidates and someone have nominations, and we'll vote, and we will know who the board member is by the end of the week.
So there won't be any, big deliberation, well, there won't be any, we're gonna have a special board meeting on school days. Everybody waits for the, okay.
Hopefully before my bedtime. All right, thank you for being here. Start, right?
Yep.
Okay. First question, what is motivating you to serve on the Newaygo Board of Education, and how will you ensure your decisions are centered on all students, not individual concerns or agendas?
As I stated when I was introduced as a new SRO, I'm here to basically make sure that the kids are safe and have a safe and learning environment. And I'm actually looking at extending that on as well with this, being part of the board. I'm looking at the fact that it's another way of just helping be there for the kids, making sure that the future decisions on their education is made correctly and in a way that I think best suits our students and for their future. I don't have any agendas. I don't have any certain things that I'm looking at. I'm just here, like I said, the one motivation that I have for anything is just basically making sure that our kids are being taken care of in the way that I believe is the best way to do it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, Eric. Thanks for applying.
Thank you.
And my question is, what do you believe is the role of a board member? And just as importantly, what is not the role?
The role of a board, of the school board, should be to govern, not manage. We're here to oversee the school and make sure that the policies and are put in place and that they're being followed. And also, like I said, to work on the future education for our kids, on things that maybe we can see down the road coming that we want to work on to make sure that they're being developed in a manner that helps better make them a benefit to society as an adult. Yeah, like I said, the board is not to. I don't see it being we're not here to run the district. We're here to oversee the district.
Thank you.
From your perspective, what is going well at Newaygo Public Schools, and how would you build it?
One of the things is when I started getting asked to run for the seat and coming to do this, I started looking in a little bit more about the school and one of the things that we are doing well. And I've noticed that, like I said, I was talking with I see that our elementary school is now being brought up on a board that has never happened before. And so I'm like, we must be doing something right. So I'm kind of excited on seeing how I can become part of that to help that continue to carry on. Not just stop at the elementary, but continue on with the elementary, but see if we can get the middle school and high school in the same realm and try to push them to where, like I said, we're seeing an improvement in our full school system.
If a parent approaches you with a concern about a teacher or a coaching issue, how would you respond?
Well, first you gotta sit down and just talk and find out what the concerns are. And because everybody's you're not gonna have a body of people this large and not have some people who are gonna have some issues. So you just gotta sit down and listen to what their concerns are. And then not promise them anything, but just let them know that you'll take it back to the board and we'll discuss it to see if there's something that we can do to help alleviate their frustrations.
How would you handle situations where you feel strongly about a day-to-day school issue, but understand that operational decisions are not the role of the board?
I reflect a lot. I'm gonna probably reflect a lot on this back to my church because I was on many boards in the church, and as a pastor of the church, I basically ran a lot of the day-to-days, and basically what my job was to bring it back to the board to discuss with them to see what it was that they could help me with. Where, even though I had a firm belief that I think this is the way we should do it, I brought it back to the board and talked to the board about their decision. They gave me their advice, and I'm like, well, okay. I mean, I feel strongly this way, but this is the way we want to move forward as a church, and this is the way we go. We have to be together. We have to be on the same page. We can't be, having constant pointing fingers and surrounding each other with support rather than to continuously point and fight with people on the team or try to push our own agenda.
How should board members handle disagreements with one another while maintaining trust and professionalism?
Like if you guys had your disagreements with each other, is that what you're talking about? I was on board and I had disagreement with one of you.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same thing. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna have a conversation, talk over, the goods and the bads of what our thoughts are versus your thoughts. I've never been one to get into arguments with people and stuff. I mean, there's people who I don't like, or there's not a single person on this planet that I don't like. There's some people that I may not like call them up for coffee, but if they call me up to say, hey, let's have a cup of coffee, we're gonna go have a cup of coffee, and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about our differences. If I hear somebody's talking things about me, then I'm gonna call them up and say, hey, we need to sit down and we need to have a conversation so we can work this out together. That's the first step, is why are we having an issue? What can we do to resolve this issue? But I'm not one to ever, I don't know, like I said, do anything other than that. That's the only way I've ever done it. When I know of somebody who has a problem, then I usually go to them and ask them, what can I do to help it? What can I do to fix it? Because I can't do anything if I don't know what the problem is.
All right, last question. Well, the list. What does the healthy board superintendent relationship look like to you, especially during times of disagreement?
Well, a healthy board superintendent in this situation, in my opinion of what the board is the superintendent is the individual who runs the day-to-day process, correct? He's the one that does all the interviewing, hiring, firing, and such of that nature. The board is there to basically kind of, like I said, oversee, to govern, to be there to listen to them and to share our opinions as well with what his is, and to support him on those decisions. When if there's a vote that's made, we support each other on that vote, and however it should go forward. But like I said, that's what we're all brought together for, to support, to help our kids so that we can make sure that the kids are getting the proper education that they need to go forward.
Okay. Questions from?
Do you plan to run for board in the fall?
If I was to get this position, I would then, yes, continue on with running to maintain my seat. If it's something, if I don't get it and I try to run, that I don't know. I haven't really thought about it too much beyond this at this point. Honestly, this hasn't been something that I was like, I've always been interested and curious about school boards or those areas, but it's not something that I don't know, I've always felt like if I'm supposed to be there, I'll be there, type of thing. I just never had the motivation to do so, I guess, until now. And so, like I said, I don't know. I haven't sat down and thought about whether or not it would be something I would run forward when the time comes. Although, like I said, if I was offered a seat, then I would try to, yes, run to keep the seat.
Just said motivated to do so until now. What is motivated?
Again, I'm a very religious person. I was a pastor. I still am a pastor. I still preach at many churches. And I see through things. I don't know. I guess to me, I know God speaks to us through people. And when I'm getting others, if one person comes up and says something to me and be like, okay, but then all of a sudden when I feel like I'm not listening, God will send others. And when all of a sudden I got multiple people coming to me and saying something, I'm like, well, maybe this is why God brought me back to Newaygo. So maybe this is someplace where this is where He wants me to be at this time in my life. So that's where, like I said, my motivation comes from.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
Well, I've been full-time, I'll be 2 years as of April 29th, so it'll be 2 years that I've been full-time with the city of Newaygo. Although I served several years before that as a chaplain and reserve police officer.
Is there any, you being a school resource officer and being on the board, I'm not sure, I don't know what our policy is for that, I'm not sure. Is that a possibility? What's that? Okay.
And I've already spoken with Chief George on this.
Okay.
And she said that if I was offered the seat, then if that was a conflict, then she would go back to the patrol.
Okay. So we lose our school resource officer, but you.
Well, somebody else would put in. You would only lose me, just like I replaced Mitch.
Right.
Just replaced me.
You're paid for the city, not for the school.
I'm paid to the city, not to the school, correct?
So you're not a school employee.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? Very cool questions you have for us.
I don't know if I really have anything. So, like I said, I've done a lot of research on what's going on in our school and started doing a lot of reading on a bunch of stuff. Mainly just trying to get an idea of where the sport has been and what they've been doing and working on. As far as more, like I said, I'm only focusing more on education. What are we doing to make sure that this place continues to run at a level that continues to talented students that can continue on moving through life and be good adults. So I really don't have a lot of questions.
Okay. All right. My suggestion is take a 5-minute break and then come back. Anybody that's opposition to that? All right, so let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got a street. There's one.
No, just the ones I bring. Right. I got a street. Yeah. Yeah.
They just was for me, like.
That's a foundation. Oh, yeah, you can see it now.
The irrigation between
My thoughts to myself is generally the wisest things, hardest,
I know.
but wisest.
I figured. I just thought I'd get your way.
Come down here.
You know, my bag's in my car. I brought it. I wasn't gonna force you. No, sorry I missed it.
No, that's fine. Go here. General space, right? Usually pretty good, so you could look and see. So, yeah.
Your brother?
Yeah, there you go.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. Somewhere.
No, I was.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like I feel like it's scary right now. I like the horse, you know, I do like it. It's just I often regret it. Most of the time.
Oh, yeah, you can't do that. You just regret it.
Yeah.
You gotta, yeah.
See, someday
Yeah.
I'll have the confidence, I'll have the.
Yeah, but you gotta be careful.
Maybe. Yeah, especially, you know, hey, I'm already gave enough.
I know.
And you say too much, and then stop talking to the grocery store. And,
Or they try and run you over the microphone. Yeah, I know. Ah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's one thing I screwed up. I should have went somewhere else. I'd be way more vocal.
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
Unfortunately, we don't have.
Liberty's still open. She's high on that.
Hey, a
Oh,
lot of kids have some of that.
I gotta tell her, you gotta give me some of that stuff.
It is pretty damn good.
Yeah. Went over there after she'd taken him to the house and like, oh, you love this movie. She's like, why?
What are you talking about, Grandma?
Yeah, I know. She's like, what are you eating? Whatever works.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you got
The guy took an counter, but it said so it's 80 times.
You did.
Okay, you did, but you're not the only one.
Well, and then they said they didn't know, they just
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, better than my house. Better than my house. Oh my God, I finally broke them with that. No, I don't
I was like, what else are they gonna ask? So I was just frustrated that I didn't have the questions. So like for instance, I bet she meant the price.
I think you're very well.
Yeah. But that just keeps going. Yeah. Then there's nothing.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything wrong. Some people just talk to
And you went, who I am.
Yeah, exactly. No, I see why I say it. See why I say it. Yes, now you're being judged.
No, I'm not judging you. I was afraid I was being judged.
No, I thought you did very well. I mean, I'm not, and I'll say this with all the love and respect, I thought you were going to be better than I did. Don't take me for saying that. I mean that as such a compliment.
I had no idea. I came to
No, some people, you know, like you get in front of us, you know.
You know, I got it too.
You get put in front of a group. Yeah, exactly. I come all to the place.
They're like at NC Racing, they were all behind us, and so
because I thought I could run it, but I couldn't.
We did it as a panel.
Huh?
We did it as a panel at NC Racing.
No, I couldn't.
What do you mean? Is that different?
No, we did it as like, so when I interviewed for that the first time, they had them up there, but then we had 7 people down here, and they just went through the questions, and then they went backwards, and then they started at a different percentage.
All the interviews?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's super
stressful. Yeah, I liked it better.
Yeah, because then you can, and then you can just talk like this.
It would make me more self-conscious, but I'm sure there's a lot of positives to it. The interview.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't seem
No kidding.
Or probably, oh, I mean, he can, but I mean, he probably thinks I can tell you.
So wait, so. Oh. Remember that?
If you but if he doesn't, or then if he doesn't, then I get to propose it down. And he makes it. And then we already
Well, I'm just gonna say,
I'm not really.
I know.
Everything that they say, like, very straightforward and say about it, which is I think what it is. But also, I think, yeah. But I'm halfway there.
But she didn't always.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it was like sick that I should say I was gonna run, but then like I think you're going to not run at the end, but then where you can run.
Yeah, I
Hello? Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just mentioned about the discussion.
Yeah. And sometimes when you're that's the only ones in my I put on, I put on my So like I wasn't, but I was coffee. That's not really big. I would never think you remember when was that? A couple of years ago when they, well obviously you remember like, when they tore apart downtown road access and all that crap.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I was helping, so I have my brother-in-law lives over, what's the road off? Old 37 center line?
Yeah,
Center line run parallel to 82.
Yes.
So they live on center line. And then they were moving to that house. And they were up by where Grad was now.
Alright, everybody, chit chat time's over. It's time to get down dressed.
Do it.
First of all, I want to take the opportunity to once again thank all of our candidates. You guys gave your time tonight, and you did a fantastic job. So thank you from the bottom of my heart and the board side. We do appreciate that. Sadly, we can only pick one, and I'm not just saying it to say it. I'm saying it because we have great candidates, and I just think we're going to be a stronger board after tonight because of whomever we have. And I would encourage the ones that aren't selected tonight to please run again in November, because you have all of you have something to offer, and we need that. So thank you. Okay. That being said, general discussion. Does anybody have? I would ask the board anything that you want to say before we get to the nomination portion of the evening. Yeah, I feel like I kind of said my piece, so I'd be interested to hear what you guys think.
I think this is a super hard decision, because I think there's definitely positive qualities of every applicant. Answer go home. No, I mean, everybody had really good answers. I guess for me, I think it's important that try to keep consistency, and while we can't decide who the community would vote for, I do think it's important that whoever we were to elect would be interested or planning on running in the fall, to try to keep that consistency. But again, we can't know for sure what the community who the community would vote for.
So just to be clear, whoever is selected, your term will run from the next board meeting where you'll be sworn in and non-boarded to the end of the year. We'll have to run at the general election in November, but you wouldn't take office until January for that term. Your term for the replacement would run until the end.
Yeah, so when I was sitting here taking notes, there were some things that I was looking for, and then I went back through my notes to see who specifically spoke on those things, such as who believes all kids, govern policy and procedure, understanding what's going well in Newaygo, and the understanding of change. So I personally took those things and wrote down who touched on that.
I said this before, I really like that. I think without question, in one way or another, I heard the term active listening, and that is a key component. I heard the term communication, that is a key component. I heard the term we are here for the kids, that is a key component. And to build on what you said, Mary, I truly think that everyone that applied tonight, that is their primary interest. So it's an amazing group.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion.
Yep.
That's a lot to go through. I do know that there was a couple of comments that may have been directed towards me as a yes man board member, but I wanted to let everyone know that Ben and I talk a lot. We have great communication. Ben knows that I support him. I think that supporting our superintendent is really important. I go to him with a lot of questions. I don't always agree with everything that we talk about, but we have those conversations before we come to the board meeting. So I'm not always here just as a yes man. So I'm going to make that clear. And I think it's really important that we follow the policies in that way as well.
So, and just to kind of recap on some of these interviews, Melinda did really well. She definitely has a good understanding of the role of a board member. She's been coming to meetings. I mean, we've all seen her here month after month. She does seem to have a really good understanding of the duties as a board member. And that written down as well. I would like to run through some of the positive things I see to remember. Erica, she also sits on, volunteers on AYSO and sits on that board. She works at Grand Valley, and her, she indicated her day-to-day job is to build processes and find efficiencies, which I think would be beneficial on our school board, is constantly finding some of those processes that we could build on to continue to improve and find efficiencies in what we're doing and what we can do better. She had a really good understanding of some of the positive things that are happening in our district specific to education and some of the delays that we've had regarding COVID, and helping students move forward past the COVID time. Some of our advanced math that we're offering at the middle school. I didn't hear any kind of agenda or anything from her. She talked a lot about listening, having active listening skills. I got the impression that she probably does that a lot at work or in her other roles in life. Teresa also sits on a board, the advisory board of the city. She has lots of experience of sitting on that board. She's a business owner in the community, dealing with a lot of other hiring, firing, budget kind of stuff. She had kind of touched on that as understanding the role of a board member would be doing those things, specifically the budgeting. She talked about how we're supporting students behaviorally in their mental health. Talked a lot about communication and having skills with communication. She talked about the board having a vision, the district having a plan, which I think we know we got to work on a little bit as a board.
Yeah, we definitely need to work on vision and goals. Sure.
John has a lot of experience working at the district. He's been here for the last 3 years, so up until this school year. He was serving as vice president in our district. He has lots of experience as a teacher and principal, and so he would be able to come from a standpoint of education and improving those skills, or improving our education plan at the district. Oh, and he said, always assume positive intent. That's my favorite line. And I have it above my computer at home because I have to do that a lot. Yeah, that's our plan as well. Nicole also sits on the NC school board, which I think is kind of a plus. She understands a lot of the duties of a board member. She talked a lot about what's in the best interest of students and not doing things as individuals, but as a united board. It sounds like she has done some, I think she had said something about doing the NASB courses. I might have said it wrong, NASB? NASB, yes. ASB. Yes. Michigan Association School. Okay. She did talk a lot about chain of command too, which was good. About following policies, procedures, the bylaws, using our NASB to support. Tammy, she has a lot of background in psychology. She talked about not wanting to micromanage the classroom, but just help guide the policies, or manage the policies to help guide. Talked about supporting all students, lots of active listening, being professional. And last we have Eric. He is our school resource officer, and he talked a lot about wanting just to make sure that kids are safe in our district and making sure that their needs are being met. He indicated he doesn't have any agendas. That he talked about the responsibility of the board is to govern and not manage. He said, we're not here, and I quote, we're not here to run the district, just here to oversee it. And he talked about a reward that the elementary is getting, and I'd love to know about this reward, this award. So maybe we can learn about that too.
Talk about that during your public comments, Teresa.
Oh, was that what it was about you?
No.
Oh.
That was a week ago.
Well, Teresa.
Of course.
He did talk a lot about sitting down and just having one-on-one conversations, even when he's hearing people are talking about him and kind of just going right to the problem, which I thought was a good way to handle conflict that we could have. Yeah, so those are some of the oversights that I had wrote down, or some of the things I had wrote down about each board member.
I would agree, Sarah, you covered a lot of the highlights, and I think we have a lot of great candidates, and I would say it's a tough decision. I think we're looking at a range of backgrounds, coming from various places and different education, all things different, within education, there's people in business, different things, so which I think is great. And I think also their range of motivators is important as well, because it shouldn't be just everybody's here. Not solely like having kids in the district is one thing, but we have everybody's paying taxes, now doing that, and that is a big thing, like we have a village. So there's just having a well-rounded board is good. And I think overall, I think from what I heard, I think everybody has a good understanding of the role, it seems to be, from notes I made, things you highlighted, so that's right.
I guess I would say I was very happy to hear about how the kids feel so safe in our classrooms in our schools. So I would like to say thank you to the teachers and Ben for creating that culture, because that does help a lot, going both ways, for the students to feel comfortable to ask certain questions or reaching out for when they need help, and also with the teachers being able to talk to the students. So I'd like to say thank you to all the educators in the room for that, and all the candidates saying that communication is a huge part. I'm in the service industry, and you cannot communicate enough to an angry customer. Whether you're gonna know that it's gonna be a bad conversation coming, and that it's not covered under warranty, and they owe you a lot of money, and but you have to be able to sit down and have the conversations with the other people. I think all the candidates explained that very well, that they were all willing to do that, and that's very encouraging. So.
It's my turn. Good observation, sir. And that kind of hit it for all of us, and that's the high points of what we saw at the end of the song. Yeah, you see a lot of school experience, some not school experience, but business side. There's a good round, a broad spectrum of candidates, I guess you would say. Got a tough choice in front of us here. I don't know how to go about how we're gonna use into it, or how we're gonna pick, or whatever. I'm glad we've got good candidates to pick. Anybody else have anything to say?
And I think looking at us as a board right now, I think governance and policy and being about the kids right now is super important for us to remember. So yeah, I was writing down who were talking about that during those during the interviews, and I had Nicole, Eric, Melinda, Erica, all really touched on governance and policy and procedure.
Well, I'm extremely impressed with our candidates and with the willingness of the board to work together, which is what we said we wanted to do. And I think our school district is going to be a lot stronger as a result. And I think that we're going to do the job of serving our students, which is why we're here. With that being said, unless anybody has anything else to say, probably time for some nominations. So I'll open the floor up for that. Don't everybody speak at once. And just so you know, we will do a roll call vote, and further, we must have a minimum of 4 votes to approve any candidate. It's something I explained at the last board meeting, and I'll quickly go through it now. Whether we have 6, 5, or 7, 7 is the number that we are required to have, and a majority of 7 is 4. Even if you have 5 people in attendance, you still have to have 4. So the question will probably arise, what happens if we can't agree on any of these excellent and outstanding candidates? If we end up with a 3-3 vote on all of them, then the decision would be made by the ISD. In that case, it would not occur to me. But I have a feeling that we will go to it. So, that being said, we'll accept nominations, and we'll do that by roll call. So we need a motion and a second. Floor is open.
I would make a motion to appoint Teresa Cooper to the Board of Education seat following the interview process.
Okay, we have a nomination for Teresa Cooper. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Roll call vote.
Mr. Curtis?
No.
Mr. Grizzly?
No.
Mrs. Schultz? Yes. Mrs. Rivera? No. Mr. Grizzly?
Yes.
Mrs. Spicer? No.
Okay, that motion fails. We will accept a nomination in a second for.
I would make a motion to appoint Nicole Plum.
Okay, we have a motion for Nicole Plum. We have a second.
I will second.
We have a second. Yes.
No.
Mrs. Schultz? No. Mr. Grayson?
No.
Grayson? Yes.
Unless I'm wrong, there's a 3-3. Okay. So same thing. We need a motion in a second for someone else.
I would make a motion to John Bolt to the public.
Okay. We have a motion to appoint John Bolt.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Roll call vote. No, I guess it needs to this time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mrs. Spicer? No. Mr. Grayson?
Yes.
Mrs. Schultz? Yes. Grayson?
Yes.
Mr. Burgess?
I will vote yes.
I'm just trying to catch up on my
Okay.
stuff. Sorry. Christina, I needed like a bunch of these pre-filled. Yeah. That is 4.
Almost want to go for neutral. That means John had 4 votes. John's in the board member. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would strongly like to encourage everyone to rerun because I think all of you have something to offer. So congratulations to John. You'll be connecting with Ben, and you will need to be onboarded. Teresa, public comments.
I think I'll save mine. I really wanted to speak before.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion in a second for adjournment.
Congratulations on the teacher.
What? Yes, absolutely.
Surprised and that's Lord. To see a TV camera set up in my classroom.
Yeah, you deserve that. Congratulations. That shows, I think, your dedication, and you are completely deserving. I'm really happy that you represent Awesome. Okay, so I need a motion and a second to adjourn. Yeah, motion and a second. Okay, all in favor, please signify with that. Aye. Any opposed? Motion's carried. Thanks again to everyone.
Your kids enjoy it.